Hey everyone, John from Movie Burners here. Today I'm going to be discussing another film, because that's what I do. And this film I'm going to be discussing today is a more older one, it's not a recent release. The film is called Valkyrie, and it's a tense and taut film about a group of German conspirators who attempt to murder the Führer on the 20th of July in 1944. That is the setting of Bryan Singer's Valkyrie, a film which features an excellent predominantly British cast and, by Hollywood standards, a reasonably accurate depiction of the assassination plot itself. It follows Klaus von Stauffenberg, a German colonel and aristocrat who, along with other conspirators, came the closest during World War II to successfully assassinating Adolf Hitler at his notorious Wolf Lair base in East Prussia. There was dozens upon dozens of attempts on his life, might add, but you know, I'll get the negative out the way early. I was slightly disappointed at the tendency to shy away from bringing attention to the intricacies of von Stauffenberg and the others' motivations, not to mention the checkered backgrounds that each of them possessed. They weren't angels, and I felt like it did deliberately attempt to create a distinct black and white good versus evil in this story, which just wasn't true in real life. This is perfectly understandable, however, especially when marketing it to the mainstream, non-war buff audiences, but it was a slight annoyance for me nonetheless. I feel like a large part of this may have been down to Cruise's inability to play anything other than a heroic character. For instance, von Stauffenberg, the lead conspirator, was an active soldier. He was an aristocrat, and despite not officially joining the party, a staunch nationalist who happily championed Hitler's cause in the early stages of his chancellery and indeed of the war. A devout Catholic, however, he did become disillusioned with the Nazi regime when evidence of their cruelty became apparent, hence the decision to try and topple them. He was no second coming of Christ or Gandhi though, and I feel like a smidgen of context like this on the backgrounds of these men would have added so much more meaning to the film and their development. It's a predominantly English spoken film, which usually grinds on me. A German dominated cast with subtitles would have been preferential in this instance, but I'll give them a buy on that one, especially with the cast they've assembled and the fact that it opens in German and then switches as the film develops. The plot itself is pretty self-explanatory really. It opens with von Stauffenberg serving in North Africa before his jeep takes fire from a enemy plane, leaving him minus a hand and an eye, and with a newfound desire to top his dictatorial leader. The rest of the film pretty much follows his attempts to recruit co-conspirators to his cause, whilst laying the groundwork for the regime coup, including a tense scene with Hitler signing a document, which didn't happen in real life by the way, but hey, we've got to have some artistic licence in there for dramatic purposes. And this all really culminates in the fateful day of July 20th. The final half hour or so of the film focuses on the aftermath and the growing realisation of their failure. Tom Cruise isn't known for playing these type of characters. He usually plays it safe and plumps for action roles instead, but I have to say the resemblance was uncanny here, and he did a pretty good job for the most part. Bill Nighy was excellent as Frederick Albright, the man whose dithering played a large part in the failure of the coup. Terence Stamp as Ludwig Beck and David Schofield as von Witzleben were equally impressive too, whilst Kenneth Branagh was in there and had a decent enough showing without ever really imposing himself on any of the scenes or the film. Tom Wilkinson's Frederick Fromm was a treacherous git, and an annoying one at that, so credit for that, unless he is a treacherous and annoying git in real life, in which case I reserve the right to withdraw that praise. One real strong point in Valkyrie is the visuals, costume design and set design. They perfectly managed to capture the feel of 1940s Berlin, and I'm aware of issues they had filming on location at some of the historical sites in the German capital. Frankly, the German authorities these days frown upon any attempts at glorifying the Nazi regime, but thankfully they were eventually given permission, and it's a nice touch which really does add to these scenes involved. The Wolf Lair scenes were incredibly cool too. This was a notoriously secretive location. Not a lot was known about it, and just to see the surroundings and inside what that would have looked like around about that time was so cool. In the end, I did enjoy Valkyrie. It is one of those films which I do tend to go back and watch for repeated viewings because it has that vibe about it. It was very well cast for the most part, and a very enjoyable watch. It had moments of real tension, especially in the final half hour, which is an excruciating watch, and you do find yourself willing these guys to succeed despite knowing that they fail. There is some issues in there as well, most notably the 2D characters on the conspirators side, who could have been developed much better, and were often made out to be heroic angels fighting for world peace, when the reality was a decidedly more complex affair. I would still recommend giving this a watch though to anyone who has even a passing interest in World War II or war films of any kind, and I will be giving it a 3 out of 5. Remember guys, if you're enjoying the content we're putting out, then be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and iTunes, and give us a little follow on Facebook at Movie Burner Entertainment and on Twitter at Movie Burners. You can also catch up with all the latest reviews we're putting out at the Movie Burner blog on movieburnerentertainment.org. Until the next time, goodbye.